Hey guys, welcome back to another Revit exercise that we're going to be building this cabin. Now last time we covered doors and windows. This time we're going to be looking at some of the changes that we're going to bring to the fireplace as well as add roof to the actual house. So let's go ahead and get started. So one of the first thing we're going to be looking at is going under the project browser, clicking on first floor. We're going to be talking about change orders. Now change orders can happen by client requests, it could be happening mid-construction, and I would always recommend documenting them using design options. You want to create several models or several type of models that are saved so you have a track record of what's changed. But in this particular case, because the change is so minute, I'm going to go ahead and delete that wall, and I'm going to use the AL command. You can go under the Modify tab, Modify panel, and go under Align. Again, AL to align what we have as our wall, interior face, to the interior face of this wall, and therefore we have this done. Next, we're going to go ahead and take a look at what our doors and window headers are doing. Now, one of the things that I missed in my last video was to add a door to the water heater, and we're going to simply be adding this door with the window in it over here. Now that door in particular is going to be 2 feet wide, and I want it to swing outwards, so let's do that. So again, for the door, I'm going to simply select this door here. I'm going to edit type, and I'm going to duplicate it. I'm going to make sure it's 24 inches by 80 inches. Once that is done, I'm going to go ahead and press OK after I have changed the width of the door to 2 feet. Once that's done, I'm going to hit apply, press OK, and then I'm going to go ahead and make sure that this door stays the 32 inch by 80 inch. And then when I go under the architectural tab and go under the build panel and select door, I can go ahead and place this 24 inch by 80 inch door. That is an exterior door, half clad in this particular location. And I want to center it to the actual opening and place it here. Now I'm not too particularly worried about door tags right now. I just wanted to make sure that that's placed in there. And with that said, I'm going to go ahead and start aligning everything to my elevations. Now there's multiple ways to get to our elevation. We want to look at our south side elevation, which is here. We can simply select this triangle. Again, you can go through it by going under the project browser. But I'm going to select this triangle and look at this elevation. Whenever I'm using AL, I want to align to not the top of the trim because that's just a property. Over here, when we're actually selecting the actual header height. And I want to align this header height to the window header, and then I'm going to do the same thing to this window. Now, there's a window here. I'm making sure that I'm aligning everything to the door header of the actual door. The thing is, you want all your doors and window headers to line up, especially when you're coming to kitchen or bathroom locations. Now, another thing I like to verify is when I select the window, I'm able to look at the sill height of that window. So this is a 30-40 window, which is on every elevation, and I can use this as a pretty much a datum point if I'm going all the way around and verifying windows in different locations. Now with the south side done, I'm going to scroll down on my project browser and let's look at west elevation. Now over here, I'm using AL again, but if I try using AL, what am I aligning to? So again, I verified my sill height to be 2 foot 8 inches. I'm going to go ahead and make sure my sill height here is 2 foot 8. 2 foot 8 inches. And this was the height of the door to begin with. I'm using AL, aligning the top of this header to that window. I'm going to reselect the same datum point, keep aligning it to the same datum point as I'm going around. So I got the west elevation done. All the windows are at the same height. This is the side of the fireplace. Now let's go to the east side. I have a door here, but what I'm going to do first is I'm going to select the window and set the sill height to 2 foot 8. Why am I going to do that? Well, I can double verify. I can use AL, and whenever I'm selecting this edge here as a datum point to align to, I'm also going to be verifying if this is aligning to the same point, which it would be because it's at 2'8". Now I'm going to go back to north, and here's our door that is for our water heater that we just placed in there using AL. I'm going to not go to the trim, go to the header height, align my window, and align from this window to that window. This is a 30-40 window, and its sill height is 2'8", which means we have done all of the sides. Going under the 3D model, we can verify very quickly by spinning around the model. And if you could see previously, this window was far lower when it comes to sill height. So all the doors and windows have been lined up to the correct height. Next, let's go ahead and start with our chimney. So there's a lot going on here. So the first thing I want to do is add a different datum point. Now, again, I am referencing our AutoCAD drawing, which we're trying to mimic it to be as close to the AutoCAD drawing as possible. I did take the height of the chimney, and it looks like it's going to be 22 feet 5/8 of an inch when it comes from bottom to top. To round it off, I'm going to go with 22 feet. So going back to the Revit model, I'm going to go ahead and pick one of the elevations. You will be able to see the chimney here. I'm going to copy this to the top. Here, I can use the Align tool to make sure it's lining up. AL, select here, select there, and I am completely lined up at 16 feet. So 22 is a far stretch. Let's go ahead and modify the chimney. Now, normally this is a very advanced step, but since it's just a height change, we can do this together. I'm going to simply click on my family. I'm going to select Edit Family. And all you're going to be manipulating is the extrusion points of these two elements and then bringing this element all the way to intersect with that extrusion point. Let's go ahead and go under the project browser. Now, normally I would model this for you, but as you can see, we're trying to mimic the roof to be as close to that as possible, elevations, and I can just simply select what I want to extrude. Now, these elements are modeled as independent model or in-place model. So therefore, they have an extrusion endpoint and a start point, which is placed at 16. For reference, we're going to go ahead and simply change the 16 to 22 and change the end at 22 and 6 inches. So it maintains the same height. It's just slightly moved up. I can do the same thing here. This is just the in-place model that has an extrusion point from 16, 2.5 to 0. So it's 2.5 inches thick. I'm going to simply move these numbers and call them 22. So once I have those done, they will automatically move up and it'll give me a height of 22. I can simply select the chimney, use the arrow, and make sure it intersects with that spot. And I'm going to load this into project. When I load this, it's going to ask me to save it, overwrite the existing version, and you're going to say yes, because I no longer want it to have the old version anyways. Now I'm going to use the align command, and I'm going to use tab select to actually get to that edge and align my datum to it. And this is level 8, which is not making sense. Let's go ahead and call this level top of chimney. Top of chimney at 22 feet. So top of chimney, top of plate. It's a pretty tall chimney, but let's just keep going. I'm going to go ahead and now I could draw the wall. Let's go to the plan, top of plate. So we, under our project browser, under top of plate, we can go under this plan, and we need to draw a wall here for our interior. So, and it's going to be an exterior facing wall. So I'm going to go under the architectural tab, select wall, and instead of a basic interior wall, we're going to select our exterior wood siding on wood stud. Now, I want it to be finished face exterior, and the finished face exterior will face outside of the actual ceiling. It's going to be facing away. So that way I'm going to be drawing, this is my finished face exterior. I'm just going to simply draw this wall to go from here to here. Now, this wall has properties. The base constraint is at top of plate, and the top constraint is the top of chimney. Therefore, this exterior wall goes all the way to the top. Now let's verify that in 3D. That's where this wall is going from the top of this interior wall as an exterior wall to the top. We can do the same thing for all the walls around the chimney. I'm going to go under the first floor plan, and I'm going to simply select, using control, I'm going to simply select the walls around here. Or I can just highlight all the walls that fall under this category and hit shift to deselect the walls that I don't want. Then I'm going to simply go from the location line or base constraints of first floor to the top constraints of top of chimney. So these walls go continuously all the way to the top. So if I look at it in 3D, now I have these walls going all the way to the top. I can simply pull this wall back if I choose to. And again, I'm not being super precise here. I'm just making sure all of it is connecting and making sure that the walls are finishing out for themselves. I'm going to do the same thing here. I'm going to make sure that the wall finish out. And since the walls are finishing out, this makes our chimney that goes all the way from the bottom to the top. So once our chimney is completed in this manner, let's go ahead and start doing our roof. So under our first floor plan, or you can go to top of plate, let's go to our first floor because we're going to be drawing it from here. What I want to do is go into the architectural tab, build panel, and select roof. Under here, we can specify different types of roof, but based on the thickness provided in the book, we're looking at 2 by 10 rafter. So we're going to go ahead and go with wood rafter 10-inch asphalt shingles. I'm going to specify that. Now, rafter cut, let's go ahead and select that as a 2-cut square. I am going to leave the fascia depth at 10 inches. Again, you can make the fascia 10.5 inches. We can manipulate this later after the roof has been constructed. And we're going to be double verifying what's going on. But let's go ahead and start drawing the wall out. The offset around is 1 foot dash 6 inches. And define slope is check, which means that there's slope on all 4 sides as of now. I'm going to be aligning the roof to this face of the wall. I'm just using that as a reference because that's how the roof is drawn in the first place. And then I can simply come back in here. It's 1 foot 6 all the way around. I'm going to use the align command, AL, tab, to cycle through my selection, edge exterior of that wall to here. So now I'm sloping up from here and going down to there. And now I'm going to simply select the edge face of this roof, which is already offset out 1 foot 6 inches from this wall. And I'm going to make sure that there's no defined slope here. I'm going to do that by checking off that box. So there's no slope on this side, so this wall is going to be straight, or this roof is going to be straight and the wall is going to come to the roof. Same thing to the opposite side. I'm going to make sure defined slope is turned off. So I have a slope on this side and it goes up, so it creates a shed roof condition, and on this side the walls come up to it. Here I'm going to select the line, and based on my AutoCAD drawing, I think the slope on this one is 10 to 12. So we're going to go ahead and match that. So go back to our Revit file, making sure that I'm going to make sure that it's 10 inches by 12 inches. Do the same thing on the opposite side, and we have a 10-inch by 12-inch roof. On both sides, I'm going to hit the check command, but before I do, I need to make sure the base level is top of plate because we're going from top of plate and up. Next, I'm going to go ahead and hit this check icon. Now that the roof has been made, let's go ahead and take a look at it in 3D. So that's what the roof looks like. I know we're intersecting through the chimney, and this chimney will be modified in a sense, when we do draw the detail for it, we'll have flashing and we can add all the details for it. The roof intersecting through the model doesn't hinder the chimney. It's just got to be addressed in details. Let's go ahead and go back to our first floor. And this time we're going to do the lower half of the roof. So under the architectural tab, build panel, select roof. And this time 1 foot 6 inches. And I'm going to go ahead and make sure that I offset out from the wall that I was already using. So this will ensure that my roof is lining up this way as well as that way with the previous roof. I'm going to go here. And since we're starting from this point, I want to align my roof to that edge. And I can come in here and finish out these lines by using trim and extend to corner. Under the modify tab, select the lines that I want to join. We selected those. Then I'm going to simply draw the line across and align it. So I can use the line command and I can simply draw across. Right now we're just pretty much creating a box. And I could even cut this line short and let the trim command finish out my roof for me. Now we're not going to have a slope on this side. I'm going to take away define slope. We're not going to have a defined slope on this side, neither on this side. But on this side, we will have a slope. So it slopes up from here. And according to our AutoCAD drawing, this slope is 4 to 12. So I'm going to go back into my Revit model and make sure that this slope is 4 to 12. Once I have that slope done, I want to make sure that my base level is still set at top of plate. So now I have this going all the way from the top of plate up, and I have no idea how it's going up. It's going up 412. I'm going to go ahead and hit the check icon, and let's look at these two roofs in 3D. So I have a roof that intersects into this roof, and if I'm going to spin around this model, you can see how this model is behaving. So a few commands here to clean up this roof very quickly. First thing we're going to do is under the modify command, under modify tab, and under geometry, you have join and unjoin roof. You're going to select that. You're going to select the edge of the roof you want to join first. Then you're going to join it to the face of the roof you want it to go to. So that's just simply going to push this roof into that. So now we have a continuous roof. Now there's this some extra part of the roof. Let's get rid of that. So under the architectural tab, under opening, I'm going to select dormer. Now typically this opening is used to cut out for like a false opening or a dormer, but in this particular case I'm going to be using this. Select the roof that I want to delete from. Then here I'm going to use the roof that I want to actually use as a cut plane. So I'm going to click on this, and that line that cuts all the way across will cut the roof at that plane, and it's going to cut in an angle where it joins together. So I'm going to hit check, and it's going to join these two roofs together. Now I can go out of my way to join these roofs into a singular geometry, but that's not necessary. I can select my exterior wall, I can right click on it, and I can go under select all instances visible in view. So that'll be all the exterior walls. Now I have to subtract these walls, so I can hit shift or control and get rid of these walls. Or I can go under filter. Or you can go under simply selecting each wall and then joining them to this spot. So I can just simply select here, attach to top base, select the wall that you want to attach to the roof. And you're going to do that all the way around. Attach to top base, select the roof. And then I can go to the other side, and it spins me around. Come here, select the wall, attach to top base, select the roof. Do the same thing. I'm going to spin around to this side now, select the wall, attach to top base, select the roof. And lastly, we have some interior walls in here. I'm going to go ahead and move my model in this manner so I can see all of these walls here. Select this one, shift control to select that one, and now I'm going to say attach to top base, select that roof, It connects. That's all of that interior. Go all the way to the other side. I have just this wall remaining. Select this wall and this interior wall, but we're going to talk about that. And then attach to top base. Select this wall. Now, same thing that was happening at the chimney location is going to happen here. We're going to have an exterior wall that goes from top of plate to a certain height. Now, we're going to have to end up trimming it or however you want to do it. But let's go ahead and draw this wall out. So under the first floor plan, I'm going to draw this wall, and I'm going to go simply from here to here. And it's an exterior wall that goes over this, so let's go ahead and draw that. So WA is the wall command. We still have the exterior wall selected. The location line is still finished face exterior, which means we're going to start selecting from the exterior side. Base constraints is not first floor, but top of plate. And I wanted to top constraint all the way to the top of chimney. Now I'm going to simply drag this line across. And although this wall is going to be cutting through highlighted geometry or all these various things, I'm just going to simply hit OK, escape, and go under my 3D and see the wall come straight through the structure. Now I want to select the wall and attach to top base and select this roof. What you want is to add constraints to the wall that you've already created. So I'm going to select this and attach to top base and select that. There's two roof meeting and I didn't join geometry, so that is my exterior face of the wall. It reads like one wall. Instead, it's 1, 2, 3 walls, but it repeats as one. Now what we're going to do is drop a roof on here, and that should cover all of our roofs. So let's go back to our first floor. And we're going to go under our architectural tab, build panel, select roof. I could do an offset that's more than 4 inches, but based on the book, we're looking at a 6-inch offset on each side. So AutoCAD over here is 6-inch on each side, and there's a 4 to 12 roof pitch. So let's go ahead and respect that. We're going to go under our Revit, and then I'm going to make sure the overhang is now only 6 inches. Let's go ahead and specify that on each side of the roof. I always have define slope on because, hey, I can have a hip roof out of this. This slopes up, and so on and so forth. But we're going to get rid of the slopes here. Select this side, define slope turns off. Select this side, define slope turns off. Simply going to connect the lines all the way across and then align them to the exterior face of the wall, because that's where the roof would die and that's where the flashing would be. So I'm simply going to select the line tool here to draw out my roof, go all the way here, connect it, and then I'm going to select this line and take away the defined slope. Now, the only slope is on this side. I'm going to select that and make sure it goes 4 inches to 12. So 4 inches per 12 inches, meaning it'll go up 4 inches from there. We're going to make sure, once we select off, that our base level that we're starting off from on this roof is still top of plate. It's just going to intersect into the wall. And I'm going to use the AL command to align to the exterior face. Tab, select the exterior face, and align that roof to it. So it's going to run into the exterior face as it goes to the outside. Now, with that done, I can go ahead and go under Modify and just simply select that check icon. And under 3D, I'll be able to see how this roof is behaving. I'm simply going to be now selecting the walls on each side, attaching to top base, and making sure that this attaches there. Again, I did go with a 10-inch rafter here. I can verify if that rafter is smaller by going under AutoCAD again. And if I use DI for distance, and this is a 8-inch rafter, I can simply go back into my Revit file and select this. And instead of a wood rafter 10 inches, we can select wood rafter 8 inches. So it'll be a slightly smaller roof. We didn't need that for the span anyways. I'm going to switch to this side of the wall. And I'm going to select this wall and then attach to top base. Select that here. And once it's all connected, my roof is completely drawn. The cabin is completely enclosed. And with that said, that concludes this exercise. Follow for more content.